Hi there. Thank you for tuning in to My Life as a. Today we have an interesting person to talk to us as Mark, and he's a photographer. So I'm going to ask Mark a few questions and he's going to answer. It's sort of like a 20 questions with Mark. It's not 20 questions, so it's much less. Okay, so first question is, Mark, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work and what you do?
Sure, sure. I've been into photography for now, I guess, about 30 years. And when things started to change in the industry as far as digital photography, that's when I became really interested in doing things because it gave me an option to delete. As you know, the older cameras, you had to take the rolls and get them developed, and it's so much money to do that that you couldn't make mistakes. But the new way of thinking, since 1997, digital cameras have been really making a surge, and they change constantly. So for me, it was always exciting to see what I would take, and one of the reasons I got into it was because it was fulfilling. It was immediate. It was improving. Every time I did something, I improved. So for me, it's always been it's been a chance for me to get better. It's been a personal place for me to go. I can go outside. I can stand in the middle of a desert or in the middle of a mountain. I've done that before. In the middle of the bay when it's frozen. So I've had many options of solitude, and it's all played to the fact that's why I love it so much. So that's the answer to that basically question is that I love doing it. I'm self-taught. And I would suggest people that are looking for a hobby and it doesn't cost a lot, this is it.
Cool. So you've talked a little bit. You do a lot of landscapes. Is that primarily what you shoot? Do you shoot people ever, or?
That's a good question. I can do people. Obviously, obviously that's something I've done in the past. I've done fitness models. I've done portfolio shots for real estate companies. But what I like the best is I like landscape and wildlife. And over the course of the last 6 years, my wildlife's been recognized in Canadian Geographic and published. And my landscape pictures have been featured on different calendars across Canada. Canadian Geographic being the latest one. Next month, I'll be featured in Canadian Geographic for October for the province of Ontario. And what I do every year is I'm just going to use a little aid here. I do a calendar up every year. And this calendar, it goes towards the fact that I like everything, and I'll show you why. This calendar we use in Belleville. There's a wildlife picture there, but just to give you kind of example, this calendar we use, it's a calendar that we use for the Christmas sharing program, and it gives me a chance to raise money for the less fortunate in the community, and also share what I like, wildlife and landscape, all in one calendar. So people are good, people are okay, but people are a problem sometimes because you can't always make a human happy. The animal never says to me, that's a bad shot of me. The foxes never come up and say, Mark, next time you shoot my family of foxes, make sure the younger one's there. So I never have those issues, and that's one of the things I like doing. It's a hobby, and I don't need the money. Okay, so
Okay.
it's not about money.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's got to be kind of special too anyway to get to see these animals in their habitat and
It's mind blowing.
yeah. Yeah, so that's really nice too and that you get to participate in the program
Right.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this year, for example, this past May, I was down at one of the dens here in Belleville where I got a chance to witness right next to me, the mother and all our 700 kids come up to feed off her. So I got the picture. Okay, the picture is huge. It's beautiful. This mother looking straight at me with the 7 kids underneath her. So
Mm.
those things like that is like, wow. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a sunrise for me. It's like a sunrise coming up and ripping the sky open. It's the same sort of awe factor.
Oh, wow. So do you have other than I mean that's a really interesting story too, but
Yeah.
do you have any like super exciting or crazy stories when you've been out shooting?
Yeah, I'll give you a kind of example where you have to know your surroundings. And as a landscape photographer, we're always walking with the camera to our eye. And I had the occasion in the Bay of Quinte about 4 years ago to think I saw safe ice and I saw swans. So it was kind of two things. I saw the landscape and I saw the swan swimming around in a little open hole. And I walked out there and I dropped right up to my neck. And
Oh
it was
my
all live.
gosh.
It looked like ice to me. And it just gave me that it gave me that extra kick in the butt to say, hey, like, you know, be careful when I was able to pull myself out but I'm telling you that if it was a less physical person, it would have been game over, right? Because I had a hard time pulling myself out. I threw the camera aside because I wanted to save that, just in case I did get out. So I got the camera out, but those are stories there where it was like I got to the car. This is what true story. I got to the car. I could not get in my car with that clothes on. It was swamp, like it was covered in swamp.
Yeah.
So I had to strip down outside the car in the middle of a park and hope the police didn't drive by. Anyway, it was all good. I got home and I got showered and I looked at the picture that I had taken and I put that on social media. I'm very social savvy. So I put it on social media to let people know that, you know, it looks exciting. It looked great. It looked like, bam, when I get this photo. And I went right through. So I was lucky to get out of there alive. So always be cautious of your surroundings, I would say. That's an
Yeah.
exciting story.
Yeah. And I can see how it can be really dangerous too if you have your camera to your eye and you're always looking for the right shot, but
Yeah.
you're also walking under rocks that could fall on you or through the ice like you did.
Right.
Yeah.
I just to touch on that, I was in Banff and I was walking in Lake Louise because it was semi-frozen, but the picture I took was an award-winning photo. But the problem is that I didn't know there was a drop-off. Again, I was the first time in this river and it came out to the lake and it dropped off and I ended up in freezing water. But that wasn't as bad. I had my daughter with me who's a photographer and she was able to somehow get me out of that mess. So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to be careful. Or, you know, you could get chased by a bear when you're photography.
I've been out there with moose before, so yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, for sure.
Stories.
So you've kind of talked about this a little bit, but your favorite part and not so much I guess your least favorite part maybe is falling in icy water up to your neck.
Well, my favorite part about photography is the weather. Okay, because the weather changes the day. I've been fairly fortunate with the Weather Network across Canada, and they generate my pictures, they share them. But the weather for me is always saying, what's tomorrow going to be like? That's my favorite part because tomorrow could be the day based on today's weather. And the worst part is the weather. Because you can get out there in the middle of the bay and it's minus 40 and you can't feel your fingers hit the keys. But when you're finished it wasn't so bad. Like when you get back to the car and you start heating up, but when you can barely hit the button on the camera because your fingers are so numb. And then the camera, I just got a little tool here for you. I guess a small one that I finally invested in. Like I've got lots of machinery, lots of cameras, but this one here is for that one reason. On a cold day or on a day that I'm in tight, this is a light SLR, which I used to carry these big monsters of cameras, but my quality of picture is the same. So the thing is, the weather always dictates my happiness or my sadness. And sometimes the weather will give me a picture that's mind-blowing. So anyways, weather seems to be the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who just wants to start out, who's just starting out with photography?
Well, I think the thing is that I always say this, always be shooting. Okay, learn the camera after you get out. I see too many people doing this and saying, oh, what's this for? What's that for? That's a read at home before you go to bed. Okay, but when it's a beautiful day, take the camera out, throw it on auto, and then learn the rest later. And buy a camera that's affordable, okay? Because you're starting a new hobby. Don't invest until you know it's what you want to do. That's my story on that one.
Do you think it's possible to be a full-time photographer? And if so, what do you think it takes to pursue it full-time?
I think the thing is that, first of all, to be anything, you have to be good at it, okay? I've seen lots of people try to be a full-time photographer. And the thing is, it always goes back to how much you want to earn a year, all right? And what type of photographer do you want to be full-time at? If you're working for a magazine, fair enough, okay? But if you're doing portraits out of your home studio and you're trying to make $50,000 a year at it, it's not impossible, but realistically, that's a lot of shoots, okay? That's a lot of people you're taking pictures of. So my thing is it is possible For a guy like me that's fairly well known across Canada, I could not quit my full-time job and try to do it, not making the same money. You know, I do shows at galleries and different things, and I do fairly well on that, but there's a cost to show, there's a cost to the show. You got to print the stuff. So I think it's very difficult, and I give my hats off to the few people that I know, not a lot, that make a living at it. And usually they're magazine people, right? They'll ask me for my stuff and say, can we use it for the magazine? But they do it for a living. And I envy it, but I don't, because I wouldn't want to be put in a position that I have to make my living doing something I love and not love it anymore.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to share? Any kind of misconceptions or anything about photography that you think need to be cleared up or anything like that?
I think the thing is that the misconception is it's easy.
Yeah.
Okay. It's easy if you just want to take pictures. Okay. My side of things is that I border on the artistic side, which is, for me, I want everything to be artistic. That's how I feel, right? I don't want just out of the camera picture, or anyone can do that. I want my picture to be awe-inspiring. Okay, and I get that. Obviously, I get 7 million things on Twitter a year. 7 million because of my pictures, right? I think the misconception is it's easy. It's a craft. And like any craft, whether it's playing an instrument or learning something new, you still learn. The misconception is you know it all. I've got so many people on social media saying to me, oh yeah, guess what? I know it all. And I hear it in their voice, but at the end of the day, I say, okay, good. Because I never want to be a discourager, right? But at the end of the day, if I'm still learning and I'm published in magazines across Canada, and I don't think I know it, and I love learning, right? So when I learn something new, I'm all over it. So the misconception is that you're done learning.
Yeah.
And as you upgrade the camera, you're going to learn more. As you're aware of what you really enjoy, you're going to learn more. I learned I don't like doing weddings, but I learned I can do them. Right? Anyone paying me $4,000 to shoot a wedding, I can do that. Right? So it's not that I don't like it, but I learned that that's not my thing. Yeah. So you learn as you go. You're never finished learning, and if you think you are, good luck, because I know for a fact that every day, every week, I learn something new.
So quick question, if you could just, for the photographers out there that maybe want to know what gear you're shooting with, if you could just give a quick kind of overview. I know you said you had a lot, but some of your favorite pieces that you use a lot of.
Okay, well, this is a plug for Sony. I've used, and they don't do nothing for me, no offense to them, but a lot of the big companies will sponsor their camera people, right? But I use a Sony. I bought a Sony camera in 2005 for one of their first SLRs. And the reason I bought it was because it was easy to operate. And it's not so much like someone said to me, could you take the same picture with any camera? And I said, absolutely. It's the eye that starts it, right? The equipment's secondary. But so what happened was I started using Sony. This year I thought I'm going to switch to Nikon. I bought a Nikon, a brand new Nikon camera. And I'm telling you, as I'm getting older, my learning curve is a little less, more patient. And the thing is, I can't afford to get out there and not know my equipment. So I would say this to anyone looking at equipment, is you got to look for something that's easy and simple. Because I see too many people with I got a big lens. It's in the car. I got a camera in the car that, has a 500 lens on it. I took at least 2 years to learn that camera and that lens. Everyone thought you sold a lens on and take a picture. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, since it was a Sony, it was easy because all I had to do was switch the body. I knew how the camera worked. So it didn't take me as long as it would some. So Sony seems to be working for me. It's been, 15 years. It's been 15 years using a Sony camera, and it's never disappointed me. So I bought this little thing right here, this cute one here, at Best Buy in Belleville, and I bought it for $700. But I'm going to tell you that no one can outshoot me with this camera. No one can outshoot me with the biggest camera they have. They could spend $10,000 on a camera. If they don't have this, with this, they have nothing. So anyways, Sony is the way I go. I hope they're going to endorse this commercial after.
Yeah, maybe they could throw some money to the library too. That'd be nice.
Free cameras, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so where can people go to learn more about your work?
I have a couple of options there. I have a Twitter account, I have an Instagram account, and Hop the Shark is my Instagram account. My Facebook account is Bay Quinny Now. Okay, it's a separate one than my personal one, and of course my own Marky Hopper. I have my own. I try to post things daily. Twitter seems to be the biggest. I don't know why it is. It seems to be the biggest generator. I have about 3,800 followers on it. And Twitter seems to be, it's just because it goes fast. I think that's why it's out to fit people. I'll get texts back, and just to show you kind of before I finish up with here, I sent an email, or I sent a message on Facebook to Robert Bateman, who's a well-known Canadian icon. And I sent my link to my photos about 6 years ago, and he sent me an email back that was mind-blowing about my stuff. And that social media is key. If you want to get yourself out there. But yeah, I would use the Facebook or the Twitter or Instagram. They can find me by just typing my name. It's on any Google site.
What's your Twitter handle?
It's at Hopper.
Okay.
It's Twitter at Hopper Mark. Sorry.
Okay.
I never Twitter myself, so
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then I do have a few links on my different pages to some of my stuff.
Okay.
Like above and beyond, like different articles that have been written.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, that's, the thing is, you do it, you're gonna love it. If you don't love it, don't do it.
Yeah. That's great advice. Yeah,
it is.
That's good advice for anybody. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. If you
Absolutely. If I'm a hockey player and I'm not having fun doing it, then quit. Okay,
yeah.
Because life's too short to be in something that you thought, thought I liked it.
Yeah.
But then you find out too far in that you didn't really like it. So it's a release for sure. A hobby like this is definitely a release, definitely a good place to go in your mind. Working all day and then going out at night and shooting, or early in the morning is my favorite time. So find a hobby that you love, and this is mine, and I'm happy to answer any questions online. If people have questions, they can always text me on my messenger on Facebook. I'm happy to help you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mark. You've been very generous with your time, and I think lots of people will find this really interesting, and maybe they'll start a new hobby. So thanks very much, and thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you. Thanks so much.